Very cool. Very nice tutorial, Nick. All right, Sean, thank you for coming back.
All right.
All right, so are you ready to show us what you have?
Yeah, mine's going to be definitely a little on the basic side. I'm definitely starting out here, and I thought what I wanted to share is kind of what I found out so far on this. And what Kyle shared earlier reminded me a lot of the iAd producer. I'm not sure how many people have seen this. I'm going to jump into it here, see if this works. You guys seeing that now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay. All right. So what I liked is I was looking through. Oh shoot! This isn't what I wanted to show. I wanted to show the. Sorry. I was looking through Frank and Anthony Deloria's videos. Kenneth Frank. Sorry, keep calling him Frank. Kenneth Frank and Anthony Deloria's videos on iAd producer tutorials, and I'm going to throw this. I'll throw the link out on Twitter to that. But as you look through iAd, and I didn't hear what Nicholas did because I kind of got kicked out of this whole thing. But when you look through iAd producer, the one thing that Kenneth Frank shows in his tutorials is how to use just the blank one. It really reminded me of what Kyle was doing using that widget template. It was kind of the same idea and getting it in there. And for me, my main focus on the whole iBook is trying to get the teachers, like Nicholas was just talking about, getting them into it and getting them to start with it. And I'm seeing that iAd producer or that widget template that Kyle just showed as a really kind of a basic way for them to start, because all you're doing is you're copying and pasting an embedded, HTML and just dropping it in. And I think if we can show people that, I think that's going to be really a huge help to them, getting them started. And that's, coming from where I am, that's where I'm starting. So I'm going to jump back to this. I'm going to jump into my my iBook, and I didn't realize are you guys seeing this?
Yes.
Okay. When I started applying for Apple Distinguished Educator, this is an area I hadn't got into very much, so I just went very simply with what I liked, with my passion with Chicago history, and I love the interactive, the widgets right from iBook Author itself, just doing the gallery of the different pictures in here. So I threw in some. They rebuilt the Fort Dearborn for a World Fair. The quizzes. I'm showing this to the teachers that are new to it, and I think a big fear of the teachers is the fact that they're looking at, they have to write all this text. They have to do all this text for a book, and it's like, that's not really, I don't know, when you're doing an interactive book, I don't see the text as much as the interaction here. So throwing the quizzes in, and I love the fact that the kids can, zoom in on the different images with just the really simple widgets that are already in here, and all the different settings. So that's where I went with that. And the other thing that I went with was taking them out of the book right into something like this Ukrainian church, which is Louis Sullivan. The link will take them directly into Google Earth Street View, and taking them in there. I don't know if that takes you out of that or not. I don't think you'd see it, but it takes them right into Street View, and I think that's the most important part I've seen out of all the widgets and everything, is when they're really getting more interactive and taking them out. but that's why I like the the iAd producer, like you guys were using. Essentially the same thing with that widget, with the widget template. So I guess that's where I am right now. I'm really basic. I'm hoping that I'm sharing that with somebody else that's new to this. That's why I really like that widget template, because it's kind of the same idea as iAd producer. So as far as the widgets that I've done, I've really kept it basic at this point. But I'm always looking at that. What do the teachers need? What do the students need? That's, content first. And I think sometimes I get caught up in the, ooh, cool, flying plane, and it gets all off track really fast for me. And I think the students would be there as well. So I was looking through those, and then as you guys mentioned before too, the bookery. There's so many great ones. Looking through, there's a timeline one, because the timeline apps I've seen on the iPad, I don't know. I still haven't found a good one. I think they're pretty lousy across the board. And to be able to make a timeline widget within iBooks exactly what you want, I think takes the cake right there. So those are the ones that I've seen. The whole bookery, it's still a little bit overwhelming to me. I think a little bit what all is there. So that's kind of where I am with it. It's still in the new stages, but I like like I said, the bookery. I like that the template, and the iAd producer, like I said, does the same kind of thing as the template. I don't know if you want to take it back there, or
yeah, actually, Sean, do you mind if I throw in a comment, or
yeah.
I guess. Yeah, Sean, I really like how you mentioned the piece about the text, and I think teachers being overwhelmed, and I know even now, anytime I'm thinking of something that would go really well in an iBook, I'm constantly educators are kind of perfectionists in their own little ways, right? And I think
right.
Finding a way to give exemplars of iBooks that aren't actual books, it's almost like iPamphlets in a way, right? Like trying to get to the point, make it interactive, and just get it out there and not worry so much about it being perfect. I think there's a little bit of a fear there, if I'm writing this myself, and what if there's a grammatical error, or what if, like little things that could really hold you back when I think trying to really support teachers and seeing that it's really supposed to be a better way for students to access that same content that you would deliver in maybe a more static way, whether it's the old overhead projector or writing on a chalkboard or a PowerPoint presentation. You're getting that plus so much more in an iBook. So I really liked how you mentioned that.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's like a supplement. Like instead of being the whole book, that it's supplementing, and you can go to it piece by piece, part by part. It doesn't have to be the whole classroom. And I think a lot of people see it that way when it's first presented to them. Like, I'm not going to make this whole book. Like, no, just make a little bit. And when we just did Book Creator with our teachers in February, and a lot of them really backed off right away. Like, I'm not writing a whole book. And then they started seeing just the little pieces they can do with it, and really took off. One of our math teachers is doing an entire semester review, and 90% of the book is pictures from Notability of problems he's already solved, and then he's doing screen capture on his PC of the calculator solving the problem, so showing the kids how to work through it on the calculator as well. And it's just the same problem done different ways visually, and there is virtually no text in this book, and it's probably one of the best examples we have in our school right now of something that's going to be used heavily at the end of the semester.
Sean, you mentioned using Google Forms, and it is a really cool way. So Ken Frank would have it to where he would have students submit forms that way. So like if there's a chapter review, at the end of the chapter, they could do that. It could go to his Google folder. But
Right.
when you mentioned on a timeline, have you thought about having, for instance, a thing link picture? Have you messed around with that?
Yeah, I was playing with ThingLink, and I'm in the process of making one like a recruiting book for the school, and so I'm just taking a lot of the recruiting pamphlets we already have and try and make them a lot more interactive. So I do have a shot from Google Earth of the whole school, and I've done a ThingLink there, so that's going to go in the book where they can actually click on different parts, and it'll take them to an introduction. Like click on the tennis courts, and it'll take you to the tennis team's homepage. It'll, things like that. So very specific to the school itself for the ThingLink.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
And last time Peter Pappas had the Japantown one where he took used the Bookery reveal widget. And that'd be really cool with some of those Chicago photos that you have there too.
Yeah. And living here, and go out and get those pictures, and because I can see what I have original, and I can go to those locations and get those like he did. I was really impressed with that.